Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Roseville Wrecking Ball. The Roseville Wrecking Ball.
Joshua Shrum. He is a very talented steward, very knowledgeable.
The Roseville Wrecking Ball. This is one of those podcasts where I listen to every episode. I love what he's putting out there.
The Roseville Wrecking Ball. Josh Shrum.
Parcels of Knowledge. Does a fantastic job with that podcast.
The Roseville Wrecking Ball. He is an Article 8 scholar, and thank God. We need Article 8 scholars right now.
Tune into the Parcels of Knowledge podcast while you're on the route. That's the mailman's playbook, brother.
Good morning and welcome back to Parcels of Knowledge, that podcast dedicated to delivering knowledge to the city letter carrier with your host, the Roseville Wrecking Ball. Today we are doing Wrecking Crew Wednesday on a Friday. I know it's not the right day, but hey, better late than never, right? I had some things going on and made it very difficult to be able to post. So I ended up doing it just recently. So, of course, it's going to be Wrecking Crew Friday this week. Don't forget, before we get into the business, don't forget we got trustee candidate John Cruz coming onto the podcast tomorrow. Please submit to me those questions. I need them by tomorrow. You can send them in at rosevillewreckingball@yahoo.com. That would be rosevillewreckingball@yahoo.com. And yeah, you can ask him any question you'd like, and he's going to answer each and every one of them. Now, it is Wrecking Crew Wednesday, and guess what?
Wow, I feel good.
We have grown in numbers. Once again, guys, we have grown in numbers. And if you don't know what the point of Wrecking Crew Wednesday is, it is my Patreon group, who are the people who are donating in order to keep this podcast going and keep it good. And they get to be recognized every single Wednesday. And also they get to choose the topic on Wednesday. So these badass individuals, without further ado, let's give them a salute. Rick Steiner, ER, Tom Perry, Philip DeGilio, Chris Angeloff, Amy Tyvan, Ryan Ackers, Edmund DeVore, Miziel Guzman, Paul Suranowski, Jamie Gregory, Neil Beckman, Shannon Mossbarger, Kenneth Grigsby, Benjamin Shellhaas, Joni Weber, the Allentown Architect, Self-Care, G. Whiskey, Daniel Pitts, Mark Allen Kennedy II, and our newest member, Jason Munn. Oh yeah, you guys are badass individuals, and if anybody wants to join the Patreon, feel free to do so. It is a value for value system. There's no paywalls in order to get new content, but if you feel like you got any value in this podcast, feel free to provide me some value as well, and I'll use it to give back to the community sometimes as well. So the Wrecking Crew has chosen the topic for Wrecking Crew Wednesday, and it is making grievance maintenance sexy. That's right, you heard that, making grievance maintenance sexy. What isn't sexy about grievances already? Come on. Just to let you know, I have already done grievance maintenance episodes 32 and 33. And with this topic, I had promised to make a video. It is short and sweet, let me tell you that, fella. It is 5 minutes long. So don't expect something crazy. It's nothing fancy. It's just using Excel and, Word products. And like I explained in that video, it needs to be accessible to everybody. So I would imagine you should do it as simple as I did. Also, I made a mistake in that episode. It's kind of funny, but because because I was doing it in real time, but I didn't want to re-record because, come on, it's no point in doing that. But if you would like to check out the way I do it, listen to episode 32 and 33 if you haven't done it already. And then I got a 5-minute video that will be on the Parcels of Knowledge YouTube. Just search up Parcels of Knowledge on YouTube. You'll see it. I think I'm going to call it Making Grievance Maintenance Sexy or something along those lines. Grievance system. But either way, I do have here additional information, stuff that I didn't go over on episode 32 and 33. So I just want to go over the article for grievance maintenance from the NALC because it's got a lot of good things, especially things that branches should be considering, all right? So let's just go over that. Every branch needs a good system for filing, storing, and eventually disposing of grievances. Branch officers need to develop and maintain a useful, reliable system for managing those paper and electronic records so that they can carry out the union's necessary work. The ultimate goal is to have what you need and be able to find it quickly when you need it. That way, when you do your work more efficiently and the branch will function more smoothly. I couldn't agree more. Every day when I come here at 4 a.m. or whatever time I end up coming, I'm not 4 a.m. strict. I'm not like that. It's somewhere between 4 and 6 typically. I do that because I'm doing work complementary to the grievance system, which is mostly grievance maintenance. Now, if I have cases that are really important and management's not giving me my time, of course, I'm going to be doing grievance processing as well. But a lot of the time, that time that I'm doing for free, unfortunately, I know I don't have to, but I'm going to because I want to make sure I'm working efficiently and smoothly. So it's a large task to do this grievance maintenance, but it pays off a lot, and it smooths out any wrinkles. Now, a lot of this article is going to go over branch responsibilities. As a steward or as a member, I want you guys to make sure that you guys are involved. A lot of times your input can actually make or break something, and technically we can make motions if we want something. Like, for example, if most of the members want your steppies read at their meeting or posted or in a publication, you can make a motion for that. And ultimately, the letter carriers, the rank and file members, have the final say. So, developing a branch filing system. To operate efficiently, every branch needs to create and spend time maintaining a good filing system for both their paper and electronic records. The branch filing system should do 3 things: classify and arrange records so that branch officials can retrieve information quickly and easily, be logical enough to enable new officers or staff to retrieve information easily when there is turnover in the branch, enable branch officials to easily identify and dispose of inactive records. It is a great idea to get your branch leaders, especially those who will have the ability and responsibility to put your grievances into storage and get everyone on the same page. When Bioland Branch 2464 in Louisiana was ready to revamp its system, its leadership called a stewards meeting to seek advice and input. There you go. They made a section for each station, and they listed the names of the carriers alphabetically, with the newest to the oldest grievance for that member. There is a separate section for class action, act of God, and route adjustment grievances. As they went through this process, they realized the names may change, the programs utilized have changed, the job has changed, but management is still the same old management, and our arguments on the side of fair and prove successful most of the time. They now have a spreadsheet where they log in all grievances with vital information. You'll see my spreadsheet on the YouTube. Go to Parcels of Knowledge YouTube. By the way, subscribe to us. Subscribe to my YouTube because I need more subscribers so that I can grow that as well. I'll be posting more videos for sure. They have also written a standard operating procedure document which helps the branch leaders remember and follow through on the process they have started. It would be a whole lot of time and energy wasted if we didn't follow through with what we put in place. When Branch 512 leaders put their new system together, they called an executive board meeting to explain the objectives and gather input. They collectively decided to organize their filing system by the articles of the contract. They separated their filing cabinets into contract grievances and discipline cases. Article 8 grievances required their own cabinets. Within each cabinet, they would file the grievances in chronological order. A steward stepped up and volunteered to create a grievance tracker that all the officers could access. Branch 11 in Chicago asked each of its Formal A representatives to scan and then label their grievances for the area they cover into a spreadsheet. With hundreds of stewards in a larger branch, it makes sense for them to limit the number of people who are logging into the grievances into their system. You as branch leadership need to have a discussion on what works best for your branch and what the system looks like to fulfill your needs. Branch officials will have an easier time finding papers if the branch office uses a combination of the following common filing methods. Subject filing. Classify files by subject and arrange the subject files in alphabetical order. If a grievance refers to more than one subject, put cross-reference sheets or separate copies under the topics covered. I don't like subject filing. I like to numerical. For that reason, there's multiple subjects of a grievance sometimes. So, name filing. File grievances alphabetically by the member's last name and where last names are the same, alphabetically by first name. Use cross-referencing to locate members whose names have changed due to marriage or divorce. Numerical filing. Use this system to file records that are numbered, such as a grievance or OWC case files. That's my preferred method. Or chronological. That's also a great one. Chronological filing. Keep a master chronological file of all grievances in date order with the most recent documents in front of the file. A chronological file can help branch officials locate a specific document quickly and also serves as a useful backup in case important papers cannot be found in a particular subject file. The following filing hints will help keep you lean and well organized. Frequency of filing. File records on a regular schedule to avoid backlogs and make it easy to retrieve recent documents. Folder labels. Put main headings in capital letters on each folder tab, including dates, to facilitate location of particular items and later disposal of files. Color coding is always helpful. File folders. Place most recent letters in the front part of the folder. Do not overstuff file folders. When one is full, subdivide materials by date or topic. File drawers. Each file drawer should have a label describing its contents. Leave sufficient space in each drawer, about 1/5 of the drawer, for expansion so you don't need to keep shifting folders as files get full. The single most important thing to do is file. It may seem boring, but everything depends on it. Yeah, right, it's not boring. If you can't get into the habit of putting things away right when you're finished, at least schedule a regular time each week to file. Remember, the best record-keeping system in the world is useless if you don't keep it up. Filing hints, electronic. Branches need to pay as much attention to organizing the files on their computer as they do the files in their filing cabinet. Organization. To help locate the computer copy of that document in your filing drawer, make your digital files parallel with your paper filing system. Use electronic folders to keep track of files on a particular subject or from a specific year. Don't just stick everything in My Documents. Labeling. Give your document files an easy understood name, one that will enable other branch officers to access needed files quickly. Include the date in the file name. Backup data. Every hard drive crashes sooner or later. The only way to prevent a disaster is to establish a reliable backup routine for your essential computer records. Even daily work should be backed up frequently to prevent loss from a crash, computer virus, static electricity, or power surge. A cloud. Understand the costs and security of your data before agreeing to save your branch's grievances or other personal information in a cloud-based storage system. Grievance records management is not hard or expensive, but it does take time. It requires an ongoing commitment on everyone's part to keep your branch record-keeping system up to date, but the payoff is clear. The paperwork monster will be under control. The branch's records will be well organized and easy to use and in compliance with all legal and NALC requirements. All right, so what I'd like to say before I let you guys go is that as stewards, even if your branch doesn't necessarily facilitate it, we need to keep our files in order at our own installations prior to giving them over to the branch. And in fact, I would recommend you keeping records. If your branch doesn't already keep digital record of it, keep digital record yourself so that you can keep in touch with what you're filing. But once again, please go reference my episodes 32 and 33 if you really want a understanding of what I think about how you should file these things. You'll find that, grievance maintenance is a really sexy topic. And don't forget, we got John Cruz coming on the podcast tomorrow. Tomorrow, that is. Like usual, any listener can submit any question. And I will ask John Cruz all those questions. So please, submit me some more questions. I need questions. I don't have a whole lot. That's rosevillewreckingball@yahoo.com. I will put that in the description below. And hopefully you learned something valuable today. As always, have a good day.
If these guys are getting educated, we will be in big trouble.
Management's been weighing you down like a bag of wet catalogs, but you don't gotta take it. You strap on the elbow of education, dig it?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Roseville Wrecking Ball. The Roseville Wrecking Ball.
The Roseville Wrecking Ball is an Article 8 scholar, and thank God, we need Article 8 scholars right now. The Grievance genius, the Roseville Wrecking Ball, doing amazing work.
Tune into the Parcels of Knowledge podcast while you're on the route. That's the mailman's playbook, brother.